Hello, I'm Stephen Lang, and I'm here at Lightstorm Entertainment's Stage 27 at Manhattan Beach Studios in Southern California. This is a particularly appropriate venue for the subject at hand, because today, well, I want to shed light on a much misunderstood discipline that has taken root within the world of professional acting in recent decades, namely the process called performance capture. This illumination will be accomplished by placing performance capture within the context of and in juxtaposition with another much misunderstood discipline that took root within that same world approximately a century ago, namely the practice of method acting. Performance capture and the method. Am I looking for trouble or what? But the fact is this. Both of these disciplines are not only misunderstood, they're much maligned by more than a few voices within and without the world of professional acting. After all, it's been said, performance capture, it's not really acting at all, is it? But it's behavior that serves as a template for animators to create exotic and otherworldly characters. It's merely a kind of human storyboarding, right? And as for the method, well, method actors are a bunch of time-wasting, mumbling, self-absorbed navel-gazers. My experience says otherwise, so let's illuminate. On the face of it, the two could be considered incompatible. After all, the method, by any definition, and there are many, is an inner process by which the actor mines their inner self for history, experience, and emotion that'll bring authenticity and truth to the role, whereas performance capture is fundamentally an exterior process dictating rigorously prescribed technical demands on an actor in terms of makeup, wardrobe, movement, and setting. An incongruous pairing, perhaps, but my experience with both over the course of a 5-decade career has convinced me that not only do these disciplines usefully complement each other, but that synthesizing the two in thought and conversation will expand and ennoble both in practice, thus serving to augment and sharpen the work of the professional actor. A bit of history. Back in 2009, when the first Avatar was released, visionary filmmaker James Cameron made the decision to de-emphasize discussion and publicity about performance capture. It was called motion capture, or mocap at the time. His reasoning was sound. Much like a magician not revealing how an illusion is achieved in order to preserve the magic, so Cameron wanted the audience to fully experience the wonderfully immersive real world of Pandora without peeking behind the curtain, so to speak. Well, the strategy proved successful and was repeated with the release of The Way of Water several years ago. And so, yes, the mystery was maintained, the magic preserved, but the price paid was a lack of understanding and appreciation for the capture process. I have found it both wearying and frustrating to read commentary or reviews that say, for example, oh, Zoe Saldana voices the role of Neytiri with skill, as if that's her sole contribution to the role. It's damning with faint praise. Now, to be sure, Zoe does embody the role vocally.
I'm in this place where I have nothing. Not my people. Not my forest.
Just as she fully inhabits the role physically, emotionally, to the very core of her actor's soul, achieving via performance capture what the method founder Konstantin Stanislavski called переживание, translated from the Russian as experiencing. The method. At its core, it's a search for переживание. For Stanislavski, this meant living the role, an actor, bringing about a state of fusion, emerging of self and role. The method, that refers to an array of rehearsal techniques and exercises designed to achieve that goal. Now, the progenitors of the method include, of course, Stanislavski himself, Maria Uspenskaya, Sanford Meisner, the luminous Stella Adler, and most notably or notoriously, depending upon your point of view, Lee Strasberg. There's no question that while these fervent artist teachers contributed mightily to the development of acting in the 20th century, it is equally true that they disagreed violently amongst themselves as to what actually constitutes the method. The actor's studio, kind of ground zero for the method, and it was Strasberg's exclusive domain from the early 1950s until his death in 1982, and well beyond that, for his influence is felt to this day. Although the studio has been my artistic home for over 40 years, I've never been a Strasberg disciple, and in fact, I'm not strictly method at all. I will do whatever is necessary to inhabit a role, and that necessity changes from role to role. In effect, I must reinvent the process of acting every time I work on a part. But method is always in the mix. The method is like climate change. You can deny it or disdain it, but it is pervasively here to stay. And so personally, I embrace it when I need it. Years ago, I played Happy in a storied production of Death of a Salesman with Dustin Hoffman as Willy Loman. I had an intuitive grasp in my bones of both the role and the play. You see, I was the Happy in my own family, the seemingly cheerful mediator in the perpetually ongoing struggle between my father and my older brother, jollying them both along to lighten the mood and to mask my own anxiety. Perforce, the circumstances of my own life forged a connection between self and role that was pure method. Naturally, costuming and makeup completed the transformation, but the real work, the achievement of Per Giovanni, was accomplished in a perfect place, a bare-bones rehearsal room. The same principle applies to the volume, an empty stage in which performance capture happens. The Avatar movies are captured here at Lightstorm Entertainment on an unadorned soundstage resembling nothing so much as a theater rehearsal hall with movable gray building blocks to create set pieces. It brings to mind the seminal words of the great theater director Peter Brook: "I can take any empty space and call it a bare stage." A man walks across the empty space while someone else is watching him, and that is all that is necessary for an act of theater to be engaged. One caveat: the volume is a defined space circumscribed by 180 motion capture cameras all around the room. Instead of a traditional camera rolling film or taking photographs, they're tracking data from our motion. As an actor, I wear a special suit with retroreflective markers at each of my joints, the critical data points for my virtual character. And as long as I'm inside the volume, those motion capture cameras will track my movement. I also wear a head rig, which holds a boom in front of my face with a pair of high-definition cameras, and those cameras track dots on my face called markers. So, if I open my mouth and speak, the head rig cameras capture all the thousands of intricate muscle movements around my mouth, my neck, my forehead, and my eyes.
Got that?
Wherever I move in this three-dimensional space, an array of cameras above me capture my performance, instantly transforming it into my virtual character. Not a facsimile of my performance, but the very soul, the essence of what I bring to the stage. Every tremor of the hand, every facial tic or shifting of posture, right down deep into the windows of the soul, my eyes. Imagine the possibilities. A space not only beckoning and conducive to the actor, but in its stark simplicity, actually demanding work at its most imaginatively truthful. Performance capture allows me to play anyone. Even, say, the recombitant Colonel Miles Quaritch, 9 foot tall, hugely muscled and blue. And yet, the process is acting at its most fundamental. An extraordinarily organic way for an individual or an acting ensemble to create Per Giovanni. Lights are up. No waiting for the director of photography to set camera or lighting. There are no crane shots or handheld camera. Simple grayscale sets ground our performances and align our bodies for camera. A gimbal, ecran, a boat, a harpoon gun. The director, James Cameron, blocks the action, working with all of us actors together, shaping the scene. As you roll, take after take, we run the entire scene, just like a run-through in theater. There are no close-ups or wide shots because the director will choose those very critical storytelling touches down the line in post-production. Instead, we're surrounded by as many as 16 reference cameras, which play a critical role in the editorial process and act as an additional layer to ground the truth of our performances as they move through visual effects. See, this is all about the actor, in the moment, imaginatively believing in the extraordinary world of Pandora. The great film director Federico Fellini maintained that an actor's transformation into a role occurred in the makeup chair. I have honored that assertion throughout my career. Years ago, I played Babe Ruth. Now, the Babe had a very distinctive nose. This is a mold of his nose, very different from my own. And when the prosthetic proboscis was cemented over my own, it served to cement my immersion into the great slugger's persona. Likewise, with the original Avatar, I truly became Quaritch when 3 chevron-like scars were in place, a reminder of the character's violently adversarial relationship with an entire planet.
Let's get this done.
Of course, wardrobe necessarily played its part, donning the Yankee pinstripes or rolling the sleeves of my marine tunic just so explicitly solidified the transformation from actor to character. But what about Quaritch, the recombatant in Avatar: The Way of Water and Avatar: Fire and Ash? No scars, no marine tunic, but really, no problem. Because the facial markers that are applied for the performance capture process and the capture suit accomplish the exact same thing. It is my makeup, it is my wardrobe. The immersive adjustment is mine to make. In fact, the tabula rasa of performance capture encourages an even deeper immersion into the method. Andy Serkis as Gollum or Caesar, Sam Worthington as Jake Sully, Zoe Saldana as Neytiri, Kate Winslet as Ronal, Cliff Curtis as Tonawari, Sigourney Weaver as Kiri, Una Chaplin as Varang. These remarkable actors and so many others have created dense and compelling and utterly believable characters via performance capture. I don't know that any of these actors would characterize themselves as method actors, but if you watch their superb work, there can be no doubt that there is method to their madness. Performance capture and the method, each a powerful tool unto itself, and I suggest even more so when employed in tandem. Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, sums it all up succinctly when he says, "I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself king of infinite space." Performance capture and all it entails, the volume, the markers, the head rig, this is the nutshell. And within it, the borderless, boundless, and bottomless depths of the method, providing the possibility of infinite space. Thank you.